Hi, my name is Vesna Karapetrova, and we're here today at the Canadian Macedonian place on Tuesday, March 28, 2017, to interview Mr. Vangel Nikovski for the Canadian Macedonian Historical Society. Welcome, Vangel, and thank you for sharing your story with us for the archives of the Canadian Macedonian Historical Society. Tell us where and when you were born.
First of all, thank you for having me here. And I was born in Armensko, Lerin, Aegean Macedonia, 1951, September 19th. Actually, I was born December 19th. I have to say this, I have to start the truth of my life story. When I was born 19 December, my grandmother, she went to the, on the village of the one who was
Registering
everyone who was born or death and everything. What is the name of these people? They are treasurer or something?
Yes, at the city hall.
No, that's on the right on the village, wasn't city hall,
Okay.
you know, in the village of 350 people. And she asked him to put me in the 1952. He says, come on, it's only for 12 days. Now, why, you know, this guy gonna have the whole year, like my baby and my nephew. So, my grandchild. So she asked him, and he says, no, we can't do that, but we can put him back. So they put me on 19 September.
Okay.
for I don't know the reason about that.
Okay.
My actual birth is 19 December 1951. And another thing, I want to say that, and I'm December 19th is the Sveti Nikola Day.
Name day.
Name day. And I supposed to be named Nikola because was born in that day. But another thing, my grandmother has 9 children. From the 9, only 3 survive. My mother and her 2 sisters. She has only 1 male, 1 boy.
You were the first.
Not me from my mother, but her own. Like from the 9, they have one boy, and he was named Vane. So that was the reason they named me Vangel. Actually, in Greece, they are not allowed to name in Macedonian names, like Evangelos. That was my name.
Official name, but
My
Vane
official.
is what your name is.
Yeah, but she called me Vane, and everybody in the village, because my grandma, she didn't speak word of Greek, you know, that's how it was. We know the history, how it is there anyway. So this is, I must say this, it's a little bit funny, and I don't know why it was happening, but it happened, so.
Okay.
So, and they named my younger brother Nicola instead of me.
The next one.
The next one, after 2 years. So, that's the stuff.
Yes, tell us about who your parents were and where they were born.
My father is named German, and he was from the village German, which is in Prespa.
His last name is German.
No, last name is Nikovski.
Oh, first name is German. Okay.
First name is German. And they, in that village, they have this Sveti German church there, and every house they're supposed to have one of the boys, of the male, are named German. So that was tradition. So that's why my father's name was German, and he was the oldest from 3 brothers. And he was in the army with the Partizani.
Your father was in the war?
Yeah, in the war. But he was only 17 years old when they took him there. That time they were just taking them, you know, go to your house and you come in. He was 17. And after the war, or in between, he was captured from the Greeks and served some time in jail there.
And what war was this that your father was
Partizani,
fighting?
the
Civil
Partizani,
War?
the Civil War in Greece, yeah, 45, 46, 47.
So your father served in the Civil War and was captured?
He was captured and jailed
Yes.
in Greece. And after they released him from jail, because he was very young, he was like 17, that's how it was. You know, they go to your house and they say, oh, your boys are big, strong, so you can, he can serve. So he, after the capture, like many others, he served in jail. And after when they released him, he married, he met my mother, he married, and he went in army in Greece.
So he went for the Greek army.
Yeah.
They took him, yes?
Because he was too young. So, and after he finished the army, 1954, which was 24 years old, he was born 1930, he was born, he's dead, and he went through the border from one Macedonia to another Macedonia, from the Aegean to the Vardarska there.
Yes.
To meet his parents. They were in Czechoslovakia, like many others, you know, after the war, and after they come back to Skopje.
So his parents left for Czechoslovakia during the Civil War?
Yes.
Like
many others,
yes,
you know.
they had to flee.
If they have to flee.
Were they involved in the Civil War as well, your grandparents?
Not my grandparents, I'm not sure about that, but they have two younger sons, my uncles, and they took them with them, you know, in Czechoslovakia, and after they come back to Skopje. So, 1954, my father went to Skopje, like I said, through the border, and he met his parents there, so he stayed there. And after a year, he took my mother with my younger brother, and they left me with my grandmother in Armensko.
Yes, so can you tell us again, sorry, your father's name is German and your mother?
Kata.
And where were they born?
My father was born in German, in his village of German in Prespa, and my mother was born in Armensko. She was born in 29. She was 1 year older than my father.
Okay. And how about your siblings, brothers and sisters? Do you have...
My brother, Nicola, he was born 1954 in Armensko, but my sister was born in Skopje, 1959. So I haven't seen my sister since 1971.
And can you tell us your sister's name as well as your brother?
Lena Nikovski.
And your brother?
Nikola Nikovski.
Nikola, that's right. And your grandparents' name?
My grandparents from my mother's side, which is I grew up, my grandmother raised me. She was Jana, original name Dincheva, and married Vrancheva to my dad Georgi Vranchev. But my other side, from my father's side, my baba was also Jana Nikovska, and my dad Josif Nikovski. Also from my father's side.
Right. And your mother's name?
Kata Nikovska.
Okay. Now, so tell us what language your parents spoke.
Well, my parents, which is I didn't remember my parents.
Yeah.
They left me when I was 2-3 years old.
Right.
So for sure, everybody was speaking Macedonian there, but my grandmother, she wasn't speaking any Greek. She was speaking Macedonian only.
Your grandmother spoke only Macedonian.
From my mother's side, the one she raised me. And that's why when I went to school, to Greek school, the only school you can go, I didn't speak any Greek at the time. So I learned by going to school there. Which is, I learned and I successfully and I finished.
Yes. So how was it going to school and not knowing any Greek? What were some of your experiences trying to
Well,
understand?
well, they know my story, even the teachers. They learn, like my parents were there, they're not there, so they knew, I mean, the elderly people, they don't speak any Greek.
Okay.
Because my grandmother was born before 1900 and my grandfather at that time. So nobody spoke any Greek from this
That was
age.
before the Greek takeover.
Before the Greek takeover and before the Greek, I mean, you cannot teach when they are like 20, 30 years easily, you know, the Greek language to the people. So that's why my grandmother, she didn't speak like everybody else. Her friends and relatives, they don't speak in this age Greek.
Nobody spoke Greek.
Nobody spoke Greek. And so we speak, and everybody spoke Macedonian in their house. Even the parents, they knew. That's how it is. Natural is your mother tongue, you know, the Macedonian language. So. But I was the one, but I learned very fast. I was quite bright when I was a young person. And I went through the, the public Greek school was just 6 years. So I went through, I didn't lose a year. My friends, the ones they spoke Greek when we started, some of them, they lost a year here, there. But that's okay. I mean, that's how it was. And I went through, but this is the only education you can get was grade 6. That's the Greek public school.
So you went to school and it was all, you were educated in Greek, and everybody in your village, this was in Armensko, right?
Yes.
Everybody was educated in Greek. Yes, and like you said, you didn't speak any Greek when you started, but you learned quickly.
And the reason I didn't spoke in Greek, or speak, was because my grandmother, she didn't speak Greek, so how you learn from you live with a person who doesn't speak Greek.
Right. From your memory, was there any, if the children didn't speak Greek, or spoke Macedonian at school, was it not allowed? What were some of your experiences?
Well, it was not allowed to speak, and the Greeks, but naturally when we are out from the class, you know, and in the schoolyard there, we start speaking Macedonian, just, you know, without thinking about. And some kids, they are like that. They're gonna go and tell to our teacher, you know, this, like me, spoke Macedonian with this guy. And sometimes they are hitting us.
So you would get in trouble if you spoke Macedonian in the schoolyard.
And what's very interesting, they call our language, Macedonian, gypsy language, which is in Greek is Yuftika. Yufto from gypsy. Yeah. And you speak gypsy. They try anyhow like to make you like you are down if you speak this language, to put you down if you speak this language, which is, you know, like a very low, it's a gypsy language, is this and that. That was the propaganda at that time. And everybody knows that. It's not
so you remember children being punished for speaking Macedonian?
Well, we were punished sometimes, like they hit you
with a stick.
With a stick and your hand. But some, depends on the teacher, some are better people, better teachers, and some are bad, and that's how it was.
Right. How about the older people? Do you remember any special classes for them to attend, Greek classes? No. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that time because my mother, I think they went to Greek school too, and they spoke, my parents, they spoke Greek.
Yes, you mentioned that you were not allowed to speak Macedonian when you went in the schoolyard. You spoke naturally. Do you remember having been there right after the Civil War? Do you remember what other kinds of punishments there were for people who were speaking Macedonian?
Well, I don't witness nothing, but they say they are before years, few years before,
yes,
There are even people that can listen through the windows and this, that, if they speak and they're punished. I haven't witnessed that, but I hear these stories.
You heard it from other people?
From other people. There are people they try to diminish the Macedonian language, and
to completely make people afraid.
Make people afraid. Anyhow, propaganda, like I said, this is gypsy language, this is this, that, and this, that. So, and they make you like when we are going to learn, and if you speak Macedonian, you look like a villager. If you speak Greek, you have a little bit, class.
Right.
So this was the propaganda, and probably they're still using it. That was the truth,
Right.
That's how it is.
Yeah, a lot of repressing the language.
Yeah.
And Vangel, so tell us about your village Armensko. How big it was, and what are your memories of your village?
When I was growing up there, until 1971, probably were like 300 or 320 or 50 people. But our village of Armensko was so unique. We have 300 people and 6 orchestras playing music.
So a lot of creative.
Creative.
Yes.
And all the around villages, they're coming there, for entertainment, And we have very, very unique. We know how to entertain. And this was. We have for Christmas dances and New Year's Eve dances and St. John, Vodici, and we can't wait to have something to put the people, dance. And it's very interesting to tell you, I was dancing for the folklore group from Armensko. I was very young, 16, 17, and we went everywhere in Greece, and they have this
celebrations.
Celebrations, like for this, for that. Stoymenoff is a person from Armensko who was dancing in Tanets in Skopje, but his father, he pulled him back, and he was our teacher. That's why you are the best. And you are going in Salonika and Solun on the exhibition every September it was, always winning first prize, because nobody we are so well trained from this guy Sime, and we have very unique our dances from our village.
Yes. Now, how did Sime become your teacher?
He was like the other people after the war.
After the war?
He went to Skopje, but his father was involved with some politics there. Anyhow, they are quite rich people, and he pulled him back to Lerin and Armensko. They have a house in Lerin too, in Armensko, and that's how he ended up here. And he was.
So he learned the dancing from Macedonia.
He learned dancing in Skopje.
From Tanets.
From Tanets, he was professional dancer. Very. Oh, I have a book from Armensko.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to tell. That could have been very interesting to see.
Okay. So tell us about your dancing group. When you were dancing, were any of with the music? Were there any of the songs with Macedonian words?
There were no words.
No words.
No words. There were only the music. But we have like a Pushenoto, Starskoto, all this kind. Over that time, now I heard in Vovchorani, when they have this big gathering, Macedonians, they can sing.
The Macedonian songs.
Songs. But before they are not allowed to sing. You can dance, but you cannot sing.
Even in your dancing group, you could not sing any Macedonian songs?
No, I don't know if there are words for these songs we are dancing, they're just
instrumental,
music. Instrumental. And we were dancing, and we were a very successful dance group. And I was there from when I was 16 as Tal, and like every young person, nice. And and we have this way we have chance to see lots of
Traveled with the
traveling
group.
with the group everywhere.
Did you go to other Macedonian villages?
Very, not villages but towns. Went to Kukush, went to Voden, went to Kozheny, went to Solun at the same time. We were going everywhere.
Yes.
Because we became very famous group.
Yes.
Very famous, so we are going there.
Right. So when you went, how were you received in these Macedonian places?
There was no politics that time. I mean, you go. Of course, was like most of the time you are going. They were like a Greek from the Greek history days of like 25th of March 1821 when the Ottoman Empire left.
Yes.
So they celebrate this kind of things,
So
like
there wasn't any Macedonian history attached.
Well, there
to
was some. Some was like the Macedonian could have been like a Macedonian celebration in
the
some,
cities.
but to be honest with you, we were invited there. We were just going kids and dance there. And
Right. I'm just curious, what language, among yourself, did you speak Macedonian in the group?
we speak always Macedonian.
You spoke Macedonian?
We always spoke Macedonian, especially when we were between us. And
Yes.
when we were going with the bus,
Yes.
usually travel, we always speak Macedonian. And we were joking about this and that, like kids. We were speaking Macedonian. Everybody, like my age, was speaking very well Macedonian. Like whatever you can learn in...
And your teacher was Macedonian?
No.
Who was teaching you?
The teacher was the one from, they are bringing there from Kafkas, and they just happened to be, the first one, Tasho, was Vla. The other one was from that guy, Costa Papadopoulos, the one who was teaching me. Well, there were no Macedonians that time. Now I heard even from my village there are four or five
For the dancing?
teachers. For the dancing you mean?
Yes.
No, for dancing was just the Sime. Sime who was Macedonian, Sime Konstantinov.
And you spoke it together?
Oh yeah,
Macedonian?
he spoke Macedonian. He was in Skopje, of course.
Right.
We speak with him. We have no problem between us, like we're not afraid. And in our village, there are not other mixed people. We're just a pure Macedonian. The only village, maybe 2-3 villages in our area. In other areas, they have even police there and all this stuff. They control our village. Was a small village, very close to the town area. And we don't have that. And we speak in the cafe, like in a social club, when we're going, we just speak Macedonian, play cards and argue in Macedonian, laughing in Macedonian.
Yes, Vangel, we went a little bit, if we can back up a little bit, when you said that your father was involved in the Macedonian, with the civil war, and then is that the reason you got left with your grandmother?
Well, the reason I was left is even today, I don't know why. I mean, how you leave your child in a little village when you know we're not rich, nobody was, but some people, they have a little bit more, some less. But how you leave your child there when you know the most education you can get is grade 6, and for me was today even I don't understand how that was possible.
So then you continued your education in Armensko up to grade 6.
That's all it was, and that's all you can get. And my grandmother, we're not taping that when I say my grandfather, he was in 2 world wars, in the first and the second, Georgi Vranchev, and he survived because he was a Red Cross. They were carrying the wounded people,
yes,
and they don't shoot in them,
Right.
That was, agreement.
So your grandfather was both in the First and Second World War.
And second, Georgi Vranchev, and he survived. And look at this story, the poor guy, how this is possible. He was the nicest person there. And he was also very artistic. People playing cards, he can go behind and draw. And sorry. 1955, after the war was finished, you know, he was in the village and he went to work in his field. And the mule went farther, he went to pick the mule and stepping mile. And got killed.
Oh, that's sad. Yes. Yeah.
And everybody, if he was from my village, he was the best person.
Vangel, you have a really interesting book there about your selo Armensko. Can you tell us, first of all, about the back of the book and the picture there?
Well, the back here, this is my grandmother, the one she raised me, Baba Yana, or Georgica Brancha. And this picture was taken in 1915.
She was just a young girl.
She was just a young girl, probably 20 years old that, from the picture. And can you imagine, that time, these people, they are making these costumes, handmade. There is nowhere to buy, and you have to follow, like every village has its own costumes, which is well different from other villages. If you go and see how they were dressed, and you know from what village they were.
And that is the Armensko village.
Look at this. And all
Macedonian
this,
costume.
and they are making this, and the most beautiful you can make, the better you look, you know, as you know, it can be famous.
So they were very colorful, very beautiful.
Colorful and
clothing
beautiful.
that they made by
and
themselves.
this is what I started doing in Skopje and again, because this started disappearing, and was very much interested for these things.
Yes, and you incorporated that in your pictures as well.
Yes.
That's great.
Because I missed it when I went to Skopje, and I thought we're losing something very culture, like disappearing,
special,
and the history of that. And that's why when I went in Germany, I was the first probably artist who went in Germany, and they were so much appreciated my paintings, and they were sold out, all my exhibits there. I became, in 6 years living in Armensko, I went in Germany with my exhibits, art shows, and it was amazing, it was unbelievable.
Tell us a little bit about the book before we continue.
The book, this is Pavle Kufer. Pavle Kufer was from Armensko, and my house, the house was born, and his house were in one same wall was we were sharing the house, our neighbor. So, and he went like everybody else. He was in the Civil War, and after that, he ended up in Romania.
Was he one of the Deca Begelci?
The Deca Begelci.
Yes.
So in Romania, but after, instead of coming to Skopje, he went back to Greece, there in Aegean Macedonia.
To your village Armensko, yes?
Village Armensko, and he made this book.
And what's interesting about the book is some of the names, right? The names of the villages. Can you tell us about
The
that?
villages, and I don't know how the Greeks, they allowed, you can see here all the villages in the Macedonian original names, and also in the Greek names. The Greeks, they give in every village, every toponym, every river, everything they change.
So the Macedonian names
so they can claim
are
it's
put
there.
In the right...
But here it is. And even like I read Greek, I get it in Greek too, but and he's explaining the alphabet from the Greek to Macedonian, the difference and everything. And this was in Athens, printed in 1994, published, and I'm surprised.
That the Greeks allowed
the
Macedonian names to be published.
Yes.
Maybe they didn't notice any of that at that time.
No, they were, but he was a teacher, and he didn't claim he was the truth was what it was, and he was a soldier. In this war, there are many Greeks also. They participate, and some Greeks went with our Macedonian people in those countries there, and they come back. I don't know how they allowed this book to be made. He's got here also in this the names in Macedonian in the map.
So the map has the names in
the
Macedonia
name Macedonian
of the villages.
and the Greek, yeah.
Okay, well that's very interesting. So let's continue now with your life story. After you finished your, during your 6 years that you were in Armensko for your primary school, you said, was there any, did the teachers notice your talent in the arts?
No, actually at that time, I was doing things like every kid in the village. We were doing from wood things. We can make skis. Mm-hmm. we don't have money to buy, or you know, at that time not popular. We were making our own skis.
Yes.
You know, this that we were kind of that's how it was. You know, we can make things like how you say this. Killing
arrows
birds.
And bows?
No, yeah, for killing birds and stuff. We were making this kind of stuff. But I always, sketching things, but I never thought I had this kind of talent, you know, when I was there. Mm-hmm.
So, what happened after you finished your 6 years?
When I finished my 6 years, I was very much disappointed, you know. You start understanding this is what you can get from education. Some richer kids, they went to the town, to high school.
Lerin?
Lerin. Mm-hmm. And other stuff. But for me, it was impossible. My grandmother, we were making living with few fields we have. We were growing like everybody, the potatoes, the beans and onions and all this stuff. And also, we were cutting woods. Our villages were cutting woods and bringing to the town of Lerin and selling every Saturday. Yes. And from that money, almost that time was one load of wood was like $1, 30 drachmas. So you had to help the family with survive. That's how everybody was doing. But what happened, unfortunately, my grandma, when was cutting woods, she cut her arteries here. Oh, the arteries, 5-6 kilometers per hour, holding her hand like this, and came to the village. And after we bring her in the hospital, she was there for 2 months. But I was 14 years old, and I have to take care after that, for everything. So you were taking care of your grandmother and everyone? Yes, not everyone, but just you lived together with your grandmother. But I had to cut the woods, to sell the woods, yes. You know, only 14, and cook, you know. Yes. Sorry. It's okay. And cook for us, and when she was in pain and, you know, tried to get, well, she never had her hand was like that after that. And she was teaching me how to cook, standing on the top of me and all this stuff. Was that's how was my life, was going my life. And I've been so young and all this stuff was going on. Right, and then did you, eventually you left your village, right? How old were you when you left? I left my village, I was 20 years old. Okay. And I was surprised. My parents, they never thought to bringing me there. They knew that's all I can get education, grade 6, and they knew we don't have too much there. You know, I can have future. There was no future. Yes. You know, and I was surprised. I mean, through the Red Cross, there are many ways they could have bring me there to Skopje and help me to get some education, because I was very, very bright. And then, so you stayed in your village with your grandmother? With my grandmother until I was 20. And what happened, they were playing a Greek team from Athens, Panathinaikos, with a Yugoslavian team, Crvena Zvezda. Was a semi-final or something. And the Greeks, they are not paying too much attention. And I went with a group passport with other 4 people. And I went there.
So you went to Macedonia from Armensko as a spectator to
as a spectator to see a game.
A game.
And I didn't come back.
And you stayed there.
I stayed there. And
so tell us about what happened.
Well, what happened was heartbroken. Leaving my
grandmother. Oh, she was in Armensko, right? Yeah. Did she know that you were gonna not? No, she didn't.
She didn't know I'm not coming back. But I was thinking, going back, what I'm gonna do? What is the future? Nothing.
Right.
So, and I decided to stay there. And surprisingly, my parents, they are very unique people, and they're not even like excited their kid came here and this that. And I want to go to school, and I said, you know, this is my reason I'm here. And but this grandmother now from my father's side was totally same name, totally different person. She said, oh, now you're 20 years old. You're big, now you're supposed to get married, now you're gonna go to school, what are you talking about this time? And it wasn't easy, and I wasn't happy, but I had to make this choice to stay because I knew there was no future for me living there back alone. And
so what happened in Skopje? What was
so in
your
Skopje,
life? How did your life unfold?
So in Skopje, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Zoran. In Skopje, like I said, I was surprised, and I was just demanding. I said, listen, I gotta go to school. And they sent me, that was 1 year, I took both 7 and 8 in Macedonian public school, and I finished in 1 year, very successfully. And they sent me to work on the glass factory in Skopje, Staklara, you know, and they were making crystal and stuff. And my uncle was their supervisor, so that's how I got this job. But it was a worker, plain worker. And after I was working 3 years.
And supporting yourself
and supporting myself. And then was my brother got married before he went to an army, Nicola. And we have this apartment in Shire, John Kennedy there. I don't know, Zoran probably know what street is there. Small apartment. We live, my sister, myself, and my brother and parents. And after there was some kind of a law. They were giving apartments to the families, you know, bigger. And because my brother was married, we decided to give this apartment. They decided, I wasn't deciding nothing. We left this apartment we were living, and we get into Panskopol, into Pana, 2-bedroom apartment. But they asked, because they knew how many children, they asked the government if they want, my father, my mother, we can get 3 apartments, 1 bedroom, so I can get one. But not new, not in brand new.
Yes.
I don't know if you know this stuff was going on there, Zoran, you there. And my parents decided not to get apartment for me, to get a new apartment. And I left immediately. I never moved to that apartment. So I was in my own.
Okay, so when in Skopje did you start painting?
Yeah.
How did your painting career develop?
After, when I was, I started missing so much from the way I was
How you grew up, the village life.
How I grew
Yeah.
up. And you know, my friends were my brothers. That's how you grew up, and the kids in school and everything. You have nobody else. And I kind of missing, and when I was working there, I have a little bit money to support myself. I rent a place, and I start painting from the memories of my life.
So just by yourself?
By
You
myself.
never had any education about
Not
painting?
that time, not that
Okay.
time. And the first paintings I made, I exhibited, and I won prize. Na Kočoracin there. So, and I start like, you know, good critics and this and that, and I start selling my paintings. People are interested. Because what happened, I was so honest about my art. I was painting exactly how I see things, how I felt about, you know, how people live there, the rituals. Here it is in this. I don't know, you got it there? No. Here, this is in Germany. That's in German paper, Frankfurt. I mean, this is a wedding. Wedding in the village. That's how it was. People up and down. And the yard and the house, all the same dressed up. It was so interesting for me to live this kind of and you know this is disappearing. It's the last witness, probably me, to see and to understand this. And was very honest and very unique. And I make a lot of friends. I was very well accepted in the art community in Skopje. All my friends after that, and we have Club na Umetnici Tamajole, and we're meeting there. All my friends were
Who did you mention?
friends.
Yes.
They are writers, poets, directors, actors. They were all grouped in this stuff. And I was surprised. I was very well accepted, and I was that type of person, and very patriotic about our nation, because I grew up there and I knew the truth. And usually the poets and the directors, the movie makers, they're usually patriots, so that's how we make like a family out there. And was after that, a few or 3 years, I have 3 years in that factory working. I was allowed to, with a pre-institute exam, to go to the university. Beside that, I have middle school.
Yes.
And I apply, and I pass. I pass on Kirill and Method.
So you went to the university?
In the pedagogical academy, yeah.
Okay.
And after that,
Did you study art there?
yeah, pedagogical in the Faculty of Art. It says here, in that there.
Yes.
And so, I was surprised, I mean, from just 5 years living in a village with grade 6, now I'm here, and with these people, I perfected the Macedonian language, because you know how much you can know from the village there.
Yeah.
It's not much. I perfected, and after that I started exhibiting here, there, group and sold exhibits, and I was in the newspaper almost every week, on the city papers there.
In Skopje, in Macedonia.
Yeah, and I know I make this Kosta Popovsky was here, this guy, the people in the focus, Louis was, without even having really see myself there. He was talking about it, and like it was very interesting, and was very moved, like, you know, for my achievements.
So you were working, did you continue to work in the factory, or you stopped and you...
I stopped. I stopped working. Actually, I have accident. You see these 3 fingers I broke there with an accident. The guy who was working with me happened to be very strong, and he probably saved my life from that. But not because of this. When I went to study, and after my paintings were selling, I started selling in Skopje, and plus this guy, a poet in Frankfurt in Germany, he saw my critics in the newspapers, and when he was visiting in summer, he visited my studio, he saw my art, and he invited me over there. But I wasn't citizen Yugoslavian. I never gathered citizenship because I was 20 years old and speak in Serbian, in the army you gotta speak Serbo-Croatian and stuff. So we decided like I don't have that. And I have to get this passport just for one go with a visa.
Temporary.
Le passé, they call it.
Yes, just to go there for
just
one time.
Just to go with a visa from Germany and stuff. And I was probably the first artist from Macedonia who went to Western country, in Western Germany.
Yes.
Because it was a little bit hard that time. And I have tremendous success there. My paintings were selling. All these academics and stuff were buying, like I said, because it was something so original I painted. And the stories, the rituals of the people who are living, was like a story,
And you remember that all from your mind?
All
and
from my
you
mind.
drew
I lived through this thing. And I love it, how we are living there in the village, and people in our village were so close to each other, because it was a small village and almost everyone related somehow, and it was very loving.
I know you went to Germany and had very successful art exhibits there from your art. When was the first time you went, and where was your exhibit?
My first exhibit was 1987 in Frankfurt, Germany.
87?
1987. And I was just 6 years in Skopje.
Yes.
From the village. It's so funny. Like I find myself from Armensko, from the village in Frankfurt now with art exhibits in 6 years. And this poster, which I created, because I said, why these Greeks calling my grandma Greek? She doesn't speak a word of Greek. And how she can be a Greek? How it's possible? How the Bulgarians calling the Macedonians, they are Bulgarians, not Macedonians. And I created this painting, which is very like at the Guernica of Macedonia.
It's
the Guernica, Picasso, Guernica, he created the Guernica.
Picasso, yes.
Yeah, anyway, I'm joking about that. So with a Noah ball, that's how I see our history, Everybody calling us whatever they like, and we are the same people. Over there, when I was living in Greece, I can be Greek Macedonia. But now I moved to Skopje, I'm not Macedonian anymore. I'm not recognized as myself. So the same person. So I created that painting. Was a big story. And after that, I continue exhibiting my arts in Offenbach, Erlangen, Aschaffenburg, and my art was everywhere in Frankfurt and in these cities. Posters, this red. We should take one here. So this is what I created. It's a sign 1978. Oh, I say 1997 to you?
Yeah, it's 78.
78.
Okay,
So This was created in 1978, and this exhibit was 79. But my first exhibit with the name Macedonian Macedonia. And you see, that's why you got a tape upstairs there. And so I must say this too. This was all over Frankfurt. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's almost unbelievable. And I went back to Skopje. The secret police of Macedonia, they called me and they told me that we are Macedonians in Yugoslavia, but not out of Yugoslavia. He says, you can't go and say you are Macedonians, you are Yugoslavian now. And I said, listen, I'm not citizen, I thought I'm okay because I born there, this, that. They don't harass me, they don't charge me, they just advise me not to do. But the next time I did it the same. I did the same anyway. I did the same. I know it was Dobry Velichevsky and Nikovski, what was Nikola Geryov, something anyway, the other guy. They don't charge me then, but they advise me, and that's how it was. Actually, it was true that, you know, because out of Yugoslavia, you're Yugoslavian. Out of, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, how many times did you go to Germany for your exhibits?
I have about 4 or 5 times I went for my solo after they were exhibiting the group exhibits. I recommend some artists, they ask me. This guy was a tremendous Macedonian patriot, Nado Petrushevsky, and he asked me about other artists and patriots, like a nationalist. And I sent a few I knew. From some they're happy, from some they're not happy. You know, that's how it is. And
so you continued to paint while you were in Macedonia.
I continued to paint when I was in Macedonia, and I don't know if it's right to say this, but my girlfriend before I came here, 1980, Tito died in 1980, right?
81.
Huh? 81?
91.
No.
I'm not sure.
No, 1980. So, and I have my girlfriend, sorry to say, she became pregnant, and we haven't found no place, our own place, and Tito died, and everybody was predicting it's going to be a civil war in Yugoslavia. And I have my greatest friend was a judge, Nikola Mangov, my great friend, and he was advising me for what to do because I was still young and not educated, and I don't know the politics too much. Nobody wants me to get in trouble. And he advised me, he says, you know, because you're not citizen, you never know who's going to win, who's going to lose in this mass now in Yugoslavia. You are not citizen here, and you're not citizen in Greece now, you're stateless, and go over there in Canada, because I have some relatives here, and you're going to be a political refugee, and you're going to get your status. And but my girlfriend was 3 months pregnant, and we discussed. She was from great family and great person. Two brothers, doctors. One was working in the transportation system, and they had their own house. But you know how they are. They are not making for the female. You know, if you are very rich, you can, but they are taking care for the boys, the families. And we make terrible mistake, and that I pay even today. That I pay the price for that. I have this Dr. Todor Jambazov, and I have discussion with Zlatka. Says he gave birth to her son, the first kid, because we are in child in that area, so the hospital was there. And he told us that not to worry. He was gynecologist. We're still going to have kids. and that's first abortion is that. And we discussed with my girlfriend, and we decided to have abortion. It was right there. And it was a terrible, unforgettable mistake I make. It was both decisions. I mean, she agreed too. But this cost me probably my situation today, with not having a family. And when I came here, things went so wrong. I get my landed status 1987, 6 years. And we ride back and forth between us the first couple of years, and I said, situation is very bad, and I have no more travel document because the status that was just for a year, you know, the one I had. And I thought today, if I was today, the things I know, how things work, could have been totally everything differently solved.
Yes.
But that time I didn't know, and I didn't get any help, any proper help. Even people tried to help me was wrong. Wrong way, like wrong ideas and stuff like that.
So you came to Canada because you felt that you needed to be safe.
Yeah, I needed to be safe, first thing. And we don't have, you know, family starting. We are in love with this girl, and she was not only one, but she was graduated in sociology in the university, and she was working on the hospital, the general hospital in Skopje there, and waiting to get a job as a professor in that school. And we have that. But the situation when Tito died was like a civil war starting everywhere in Yugoslavia. That was, it was 2 years after, or a year after, everything could have been different.
Yes.
Because you're going to have the kid, and after it is very difficult to make decision to move here, there, you know.
Right.
And everything went wrong since then. And so I decided to, I will say, you know, Lily was her name, I said, do your, look for your future and stuff like this. My situation is not going, it's not going nowhere, like, you know. It's.
So in Canada here, you basically applied for your status, immigrant status?
Yeah, but the first year I was kind of hoping, you know, relative here or there, but with my profession, being an artist here, my grandmother, one of my grandmothers, like the sister of my grandmother, says, you know what, here, if you're a plumber, you can get the most beautiful girl from the ethnicity here. But artists, nobody cares.
But you had some.
And I said to my grandma, I said to myself, how does my grandmother know, like, and it turned out it's true.
And in Canada, you also had some exhibits.
I have exhibits in Canada. My first exhibit, I had exhibits here with the community on Roy Thompson Hall, Massey Hall, and this was on Tate Gallery. And that was Paul Nano, who's today my best friend, was so well organized, was downtown on the Niagara Street, and the owner was Leo Kamen, I still remember the guy. And he says he never see so many people in art here in Toronto, like in opening a show here. Was so low where you know, Mary Manas was singing, and these guys were playing from Selani group.
Yes.
Maybe you know these guys. And everybody was there. It's Paul Nano here. I don't know if you know Paul. If you see, probably you know. He's a friend with Jimmy Nikolov and everybody. He's from Turkey too.
So you had the Macedonian community supporting you.
Supporting me, but was like a misunderstanding. They never understood why I was asking for these prices, because I was getting this money from my exhibits in Germany, from the same quality of paintings and the sizes and everything. And I was surprised they don't understand, and they were surprised I don't understand them. And turned out, like, you know, I have to sell for less, and it was kind of a struggle for me, to go back like.
Yes.
But that's how it was, and wasn't great. It wasn't like I was doing in Europe.
But you continued to paint in Canada.
I continued to paint in Canada. I just find business here there, and now in this moment, which is I turn 65, and I decide to do a Canadian art. I've been long enough here to understand the Canadian market and what Canadian people want.
Yes.
And now I'm doing, and I'm happy for the results. I'm doing some Canadian landscapes with wildlife, which is I know it's going to be okay for me. But I was so disappointed. I wasn't like the time I came. I wasn't interested to have exhibits, running for exhibits, and the cost and all this stuff. But I have exhibit in 1987 at Nathan Phillips Square. It's a traditional show there every year. So this year I'm going to apply for that. I'm going to go because I have already working in these paintings. And my display was on City TV on the news. Only my display. And some of the people are behind me said, "You made it, you made it." You can't get this advertising, like 1 minute or 30 seconds, but it was huge. But still, I'm here.
Yeah. So, but you still love to paint in the pictures with the Macedonian themes?
Well, to be honest with you, we're changing, We're changing as an artist, as a human, I am educating myself so much through these years, through the internet, what's going on and this, that. And I'm now in different styles I'm looking for, and I don't see too much interest, even from Macedonians, for the Macedonian art. Because see, in Germany, the Germans, they appreciate it and they are buying my art because they knew, and Western Europe, the art is born there, in Italy, in France, in Germany, Berlin, in all the cities. They have the traditions and the understanding and the appreciation. Here are people, like me, like everybody came, like your parents, from the villages. We don't have these traditions. We don't know that it is. There are people asking me, why? Because the paint is too expensive, your paintings are expensive. So that's how they translate in this. And well, I do if I have to do, but I haven't done the biggest I have in mind about our history. Probably I'm going to do someday that painting I have in mind. I haven't started yet. But this is, I'm happy now, and I have, I'm making some connections with the galleries who are interested in, of course, Canadian art, because we live in Canada, and this is what the market is for art, and that's how it's supposed to be. I mean, I did a lot for the Macedonian, and I explored myself too much. I did what I have to do, and now it's for me to go back in that style I was doing. It's a little bit hard too, I'm a different artist, different person now, and I know I'm gonna make for myself in the future a little bit better living with the art I'm doing now.
And tell us about the exciting project that you've started here at the Macedonian Canadian place with the other residences in terms of your art lessons.
Yeah. Well, when I came here, because I'm raised by my grandmother, I'm compassionate for the elderly people. I love to help. And I'm doing this because
I was able to help my grandmother at the end of her life. So that's why I'm doing this.
It's your way of giving back
I'm giving back.
for your
And
grandmother.
everything I'm doing for my grandmother.
Yeah,
And they're very happy.
that's wonderful.
I have very successful. I make for people they never thought they're gonna do anything. Now I have a person who's 94 years old from Zhelevo, Chris Papazov. He's so excited. He never thought he's gonna paint. He has some pictures from his village, the ruins of his houses. He told me he was there, I don't know, 1996. He took these pictures, now he's doing. They're happy. And they are very happy. They give me letters here, I don't have it, like how happy they are, and they discover something in themselves like they never thought they can do. And if we have time, we can, it's next door where I'm teaching, I can show you like what some are here, some are not, how much they're progressing and how happy they are. I'm not only doing that, they have bingo here, and there's nobody to help them, calling the numbers. So I do the bingo, I call for them. I have barbecue finally, they bring barbecue here, and I do the barbecue in summertime, helping them wherever they have peppers or something, little bit this, little bit that. I'm just doing, like I said, for my grandmother, everything that, and I'm compassionate for the elderly.
So you're completely involved in the Canadian Macedonian place with activities and helping the residents.
Yes, I'm trying to do my best.
And when did
and
you come?
I'm not getting anything about
So
that.
it's
I'm doing
volunteering.
volunteering, you know.
And you're doing it because you love to do it.
I love to do it, and the
Yes.
way I was raised from my grandmother, I said, I always was surrounded with the elderly people.
Yes.
As a baby, as a growing up, you know, hugging me, taking me.
Yes.
So that's my personality.
And how many years have you been here already?
I'm 5 years, just like that, past 5 years. Oh, and I have here, I have this, that's mine, Vesna. No charge.
Yes.
Oh. Here maybe this is, I just find this, here it is. You can read how, when I was just 3 months here in Canada, and I donate. You can read aloud.
Yes, it's from Canadian Macedonian Place, and it says, it's for Mr. Vangel Nikovski, Dear Sir, on behalf of the Board of Directors of Canadian Macedonian Place, I would like to thank you for your very generous donation of a painting for our senior citizen residents. I'm sure that all of your residents, both of Macedonian, all of our residents, both of Macedonian and other ethnic backgrounds, will enjoy your work for many years to come. It is indeed a pleasure for us to meet a young person who can do something of this type for our residents. Again, many thanks, and this is signed from Canadian Macedonian Place. It's Diane Vasiliev and the administrator, and this letter is from 1981, so you donated your paintings way back in 1981.
No, I was 3 months here, and I create and donate. I have so much involvement in
You
the
were involved
community
in
and this and that
Macedonian
and this,
Place.
yeah. And,
That's wonderful.
you know, and now you see things, some you like, some you don't. That's how it is every year.
And now we're going to have a chance for you to show us
Yes.
the paintings that you donated here at the Canadian Macedonian Place. And it was a pleasure to have our interview, but we can continue if you have something more to say. Go ahead.
Well, I'm very interested to publish my biography, and I'm starting to work on it. I hope I'm going to be allowed to go in the village, see my friends I grew up, and some relatives left there, and wherever whose death is dead, wherever is left there, and take some pictures and videograph materials that I can bring with me for my biography, for the book I am planning to, it's my biography, my story, my life story.
And I'm sure your life story will have many of your beautiful pictures in it that you've painted.
It's going to be a lot of pictures and a lot of stories. Some, this is different than the books. The book you can work days and weeks, so we don't have time here to say everything. And we covered a lot, the most important things. Thank you very much, both you and Zoran, and special Virginia Stoymenoff. Virginia, I was coming here and I know her face, and she is, for me, one of the most honest people I can say living here in Toronto from Macedonian descent. She's a wonderful person and very honest.
And she's a great asset to our community.
She's not only great asset and person, and without talking to her, I can feel, the people sometimes who are good, who are not very good.
Well, we appreciate this interview, Vangel, and we wish you all the best and look forward to your biography. And when it comes out, definitely we'd like to have another interview and more stories from you. And now we're going to go and see the paintings that you've donated here at the Canadian Macedonian place.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And even we can start here where I teach from this room, because we are right here, and we continue to because it's not only I donated, but it's also people who bought from me and donated to this place. Like I have 6, 7, one is missing, I don't know what happened. But it's about 6, 7 paintings I have here on the wall, so I can explain the meanings, what they mean.
We're here at the Canadian Macedonian place in a very nice room. Vangel, tell us more about this space.
Well, this is going to be my 3rd year in this studio here, where I'm teaching to the seniors. Art classes I have here. There is the posters on outside, and I have like very much interest, and I have more than I can fit people here.
So these are some of the paintings that the seniors have painted that live at Canadian Macedonian place. Can you tell us something about them?
Yes, this is from probably English background or Scottish. Audrey MacDonald, and she did this of Alexander the Great. She's a very talented. She's doing this from the priest. She's one of my best students for 4th, 5th year.
And you have some of your own paintings? Can you show us?
I have some of my own painting. This is the new style I'm doing here. I was talking about the Canadian scenes and stuff. I love it. I love the colors and I love the composition. And like there with blue here, Canadians, like I am Canadian now, I'm proud. They like they like wildlife and the sceneries of Canada. So I decided now to do my next exhibition in this theme, in Canadian theme and stuff.
Okay, now we're going to go upstairs and see some of the paintings that you've also donated.
Thank you. And this is Helen. She is Helen Nielsen, this one, she did here. She never painted before, and they are so surprised from the results they had made, and the other one. Everybody is very surprised, and I'm surprised. I love when they enjoy. And it seems like they enjoyed very much.
Do you teach them any techniques, Vangel, or?
Well, the simple techniques, they are students, they cannot take so much, to teach. I know the capabilities, and I go this far, like they can...
You go according to each student, individually?
Yes, yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay, now we can go upstairs, and you can show us some of
Actually,
the other...
on the 1st floor, 2nd floor, and 3rd floor.
Okay, great. Vangel, ovdje imamo mnogo ubava slika od vas, što imate podareno. Kažete ni nešto interesno za slikata?
Taj je napravim specijalno za ovaj dom, kada dojdu. така беше тука, сите помага, кои со пари, кои со тоа. И аз дојдено тамо и ја направив овај подарок во после 3-4 месеци само што бев во Канада.
In 1981.
81. 35-6 години.
Yeah. Vangel, here we have another picture that you have painted. Can you tell us about this one particularly?
So this is, I did also 1981, as signed there. And I did this lady. You know, after the war there was people many of these ladies, they lost their husbands. So many people lost their husbands and stuff. And they have to take care for everything. And what I'm presenting here, this woman, how strong she is. You have to be physically and mentally strong to survive. So that's what she represents. It's the strong. She almost looked like a man, but because that was the situation over there, and this woman are so very strong.
And we have a picture of your village. Can
That's
you tell us
my
about
village.
it?
That's my village. This is the school I went there.
That's Armensko.
Armensko, and this is my house right here. Was just from the school, and I can say a word for Steven Stamkos. I can tell you Steven Stamkos is here. His grandfather house, the famous hockey player.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are from the same village, and their house is right here to his grandfather. So that's our village.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Great. Here we have a very beautiful painting, one of your other paintings that is very different than your other ones that we saw downstairs. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, this is different because doesn't have the colors of our costumes and stuff, but it is the same. That's how it's supposed to be over there in the winter time. The snow, I remember, was like a 2-3 meter snow we have always was a church in the church here was always a church in the villages, and the full moon now, you can see even people, they were hunters, they were hunting, they were going like under the moon, the light of the moon, hunting for wild boars and anything, foxes and rabbits. So that's how it's a part of our life too. On the villages there.
So it's depicting a village in Macedonia as you remember.
Yes.
Even though the style is different. This is a poster about one of your first exhibits in Germany. And it's a very interesting poster because it goes back right from 1978. And as we explained downstairs, you had a very successful exhibits in Germany, and this was one of your first. So tell us about the painting as well on this poster.
Yeah. Well, this is, I already have a lot of exhibits in Macedonia, in Ohrid also, Bitola, Ohrid, Skopje. And this was my first art show in Germany. Like I said before, just 6 years before I was in the village there, living in the village. And after 6 years, I found myself in Frankfurt, Germany, and sponsored by the biggest bank in the world. This poster were all over Germany, Frankfurt. And Offenbach after that I have, and Erlangen, and Aschaffenburg.
Tell us about the painting.
The painting, what it means, when I was there in Skopje, and I see, like from Armensko, we are speaking Macedonian, and now we're speaking the university, the schools, everybody's Macedonian. And I was left like, we have our nation, we have our language, we have, our country, here at least in this part. At that time it was under Yugoslavia, but still we have like the universities, the Republic of Macedonia, and we have the schools and the universities and everything.
You felt good that everything was Macedonian.
Yeah, but also, and I said, why these people in Greece
telling us it's no Macedonian, it's no Macedonian language, it's not this, not that. In Bulgaria, I learned there from my friends who are very educated academics, poets, like I said earlier, writers and movie directors and actors and everybody like that, and our community there, and we have a special club we are carrying every night together. And I created this with a violin, but no
bow.
No bow. Like everybody makes it whatever they think. We must be very important people. So everybody wants us to be their own. So that's how the story started, and that's how I did this. This is a very, very interesting. For me, even still today, despite it was done like 40 years almost ago, 39 years ago, and I was very young. I was 26 years old at the time. But I'm very proud from this painting.
But what about the Ottoman Empire?
The Ottoman Empire, see, this is like how they used to see the Turks, and their color red and this that. They're 500 years in our
Occupied Macedonia.
Macedonia, yeah.
The
But
Ottomans,
that time was the whole Macedonia. It wasn't like a separate it is today between Greeks and Serbian and Bulgarians.
And what about his blindness?
Huh?
What about his blindness?
Well, this blindness is the dream. Like, you know, he's having the eyes closed and hoping the truth will come out, you know, and we're going to have back our country one day. So that's the story of this.
I love that one.
Tell us about this picture and what motivated you to paint it.
See, this is looks like a very plain picture, but has so much history behind. Our Macedonia is a mountain country, a lot of mountains. So everything is uphill and stuff. People, because they have not too much fields, so they are cultivating everything. They are trying to make field from everywhere they can. So that's why it's uphill. And here, look at this, the gathering,
Yes.
the
Collecting.
wheat, they collect the wheat, and look at the meaning. The woman, they keep working, but these two men, they are allowed to talk. That's how it was. Always men can do whatever, yeah. But the woman. So all these little things, they have a lot of meanings.
It's true. All the women are working, and these two
And
men
these
are
two,
not.
they're talking about something. So that's how it was the difference. I sold one painting to a musician from Russia, Tatiana Nikolaevna. That could have been 73, 4. And I have a woman, the man is on the horse, but the woman with the,
with the rope
not the rope,
or the chain.
the chain, and she's pulling the horse, and she says, "Why is this?" That's how it is here. We are in Balkans. I said,
Okay. Yeah.
So it was funny for her to understand that. So that's how it was, you know. Always the man was the man, you know. And it's not.
So you're showing something from
Yes,
what
the
you saw
originality,
in
the originality, and all this stuff from the life.
the culture. Here's another one of your paintings, and I noticed that on the bottom, the way you signed it, it's quite interesting. Can you tell us about it?
Makedonski, Maka, with everything, with the difficulty.
Struggle.
The struggle. That's that is Macedonia. So this is very simple. People are living like that. You know, they try to bring home for the winter everything like wood. The more they can, you know. It was part of everyday.
And you're showing the landscape here.
And the
this
landscape is a
mountainous.
everything was, it's my village, every village there. It's just a more of Macedonia, it's a mountain country. You know, everybody knows that. So that's everything happens in the mountains.
And this was your style at the beginning, right?
That's at the very beginning, and this is what I explored everything what the part of the living, and I have some finished there, not how they were doing the
weddings, how they are doing the name day, how they are killing the pig, and people holding and sharing the meat with the neighbors, and that's so much like how they are together, living together, and loving each other, share everything together. What's very important for me to
So your paintings are a real testament to the way of life of the Macedonian people in the villages, as you saw them, as you felt and experienced life in the Macedonian beautiful village of Armensko.
Yes,
And on
exactly.
behalf of everyone here at Canadian Macedonian Historical Society, I'd like to thank you for this interview and giving us insight into your work. And we'd like to thank you for all the beautiful pictures that you've donated to the Canadian Macedonian Place so that all of the seniors and guests